And we are rolling.
Okay.
Welcome everybody to the Dre's Roots podcast once again. We have been forced indoors. For those who don't know, here in the Eastern Cape, it's a little bit breezy from time to time.
Yeah.
Some would say, I don't know if that's a euphemism or what you'd call that, but now and again it gets a little bit fresh.
Yeah.
But Cassidy, thank you for joining us. Welcome. We have an interesting kind of brief history. I mean,
Yeah.
the way this came about, I think it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So, do you want to give a brief little
Yeah.
how this happened?
Yeah, I've told the story a few times already now. So I was looking for a beanbag for my son's birthday, and you were selling one on Facebook Marketplace, and a really nice cupboard that I also have in his room. And you agreed to deliver it, which was great. And I got home, I saw how massive the beanbag was, which I wasn't expecting. And sent you a clip to say thank you. You let me know about your podcast. So I've kind of been watching it here and there, which has been quite cool.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, from like a work perspective as well, you can always learn. So it's nice to watch and like see how different people use the platform.
For sure.
And then you had your last episode. I don't remember the gentleman's name.
Another
Andre. Okay. And I'm Christian, so I really valued that episode. And then I felt like I needed to reach out and share some stuff with you about, my journey. And then now we're here. I think that's kind of the crux of it.
It's cool. I like it's a very organic development. It's nice to have someone on the show that's kind of here because of the show in a way. Like I'd love to see more of that happening. That's kind of what it's all about. A conversation, driving conversation, that's a big part of it. So that's awesome. Something that you said in the beginning, just to jump right into it, that I really liked is you watched my first episode with Unda where we kind of spoke about South Africa and a few positive things. And you said something that was quite striking, that you like to see the country spoken about in a positive light.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear a bit more of that from you. What are your thoughts? You obviously you find something positive here.
Yeah. So I think a big part of it is I did live in Zambia for 10 years and then came back. So having left, and not leaving because of any negative association with South Africa, just opportunity and family living there. When I came back and you see what people are complaining about, I had something to compare it to, and saying like, guys, we've actually got a lot here. We've got a lot of beautiful things here. And I feel like we are an outspoken country in terms of the good and the bad that happens. And I think a lot of people aren't aware of the fact that a lot of media suppresses those things and doesn't share it with the world the way that South Africa does.
Yes, that's interesting. Unda actually made a similar comment. And I hadn't really thought about that aspect of it. But it's true. I suppose we have a vigorous press in some degree that kind of likes to expose things, which is a good thing. I mean, that the negatives that there are exposed. There's a lot of, call it social upheaval at the moment in the world, especially in the West. And I feel like in terms of that, we're not really badly situated as South Africa. We tend to have it's almost like we seem to have more social maturity than some of these other places in the West when it comes to dealing with these things. I mean, if you look at what's happening in America and in the UK and the way the society is almost attacking itself from these different sides, it feels like that happens less here.
Yeah. I agree. I think we're a bit more, I want to say down to earth, if that makes sense. I don't think we're trying to like clickbait the world or grab attention, whether it's negative or positive. I think, oh, I don't want to really talk about this part. You can cut it out.
I can cut it out.
When it comes to the like your sexuality, as an example, like it's gotten pretty out of hand, you know,
of course,
in those countries. Whereas here, okay, you are who you are, you love who you love, you live your life the way you live your life, but we're not trying to impose on each other, saying I must be addressed as this, I must be acknowledged as that, and we must, you know, I think we're a little bit reserved.
Yes,
But yeah, you can edit it out.
yeah, I think there's something here to tie into that. That's maybe we're more okay with having different factions in our society. We're not that like you have to be accepting of my faction or belief system. We kind of just come a long way of accepting that we are this melting pot or whatever of varying beliefs and varying cultures. So we have to leave room for these things to exist and not be, as you say, imposing of our belief systems, whatever they may be. We're just kind of more relaxed about that.
You're right. I mean, I've forgotten because I've been away for so long, but we have what, like 28 national languages or something like that?
Oh, I'll have to get the exact number, but there's a lot. There's a whole handful. There's enough that you can forget how many there are.
Yeah, and with that comes diverse cultures, faiths and things like that. So I think maybe as a nation we've probably been more accepting from that point. Maybe that's what it is. But back to like the positives about South Africa is there is good and bad everywhere in the world. I think your mindset matters. I think how wise you are about when's a good time to be out, when's a good time to be home matters. And obviously where you choose to like lay your roots and live, like Jeffreys Bay, for me, it's a safe place. I don't feel any fear.
It is pretty cool like that.
Yeah.
How did you find? I love obviously the cultures thing. I love the different cultures we have in this country, and I also spent a lot of time in the Western Cape, and I've kind of moved my way. I started off my working career. I went to Queenstown in the rural Eastern Cape, and then from there I sort of jumped all the way across to Paarl, and then Belleville, and I was around there, and then slowly made my way back. I was in George for a while, and now I'm back here. So in my experience along the West. Was really fantastic of just like the kind of colored cultures, and then there's not all one culture. It's like you get different little rural subcultures and then more city cultures, but it was so culturally rich, I would say. It was like enriching to be a part of it. How did you find your stay in Cape Town, and what sort of cultures were you surrounded with there?
Oh, that's interesting. So I was there for a year. I was doing a business management diploma. I wasn't sure what I wanted to study, so that was like my gap year at Varsity College or Vacation Club,
Nice.
people call it. And so I was in a girls' res, which means I was staying with people that weren't from Cape Town.
Oh, I see.
So for me it was Namibia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, East London.
Yeah.
No one really from Joburg, but it was just not Cape Townians.
An eclectic mix.
Yeah. And I found at the time, for me, honestly, that Cape Townians were kind of like the cool kids. Like, we've got our friends, this is our turf. I didn't really get a very warm, inviting feeling, if I'm really honest.
Yeah, I can comment on that, but I don't want to. But let's say it's not entirely alien to me what you're saying. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But because it is so diverse with people from all over the world coming to study there, especially at UCT, I still had a great time, but it was meeting people that weren't from Cape Town.
Okay, that's still culturally enriching. Yeah, I mean, it's, when one speaks about Cape Town generally as, like, let's say the biggest brush that you could paint and call it Cape Town, you're talking about a lot of different things. It's often, I mean, my sister and them stayed in gardens in like the city centre, and they had that kind of the Cape Town culture that I experienced with them going out into places was more like what you just referenced. It felt exclusive. It felt kind of I wouldn't say cliquey, but I felt distinctly not a part of whatever that was.
Yeah.
But then other like the working class kind of culture that I had in Belleville and Brackenfell, and that was again totally different, and that was more really down to earth. And I'm not saying those people aren't. I mean, they're down to earth as well, but it was much more. It felt more like I could, philosophically speaking, take my shoes off and put my feet up. You know,
Yeah.
it felt more like okay, rest off.
Comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you, the whole Zambia thing and that, was it, did you go to Zambia after Cape Town?
Yeah, so I have to get my facts straight. Okay, so in my matric year, my mom and my brother moved to Zambia. My mom got a job opportunity there, a really good one.
Okay.
And so every holiday, of course, you go back home, which was now Zambia. And then I started making friends there.
Okay.
Really liked the simple life of it, like the bush, the river, which was like a 2-hour drive to go to the river, 6 hours to go to Livingston, to go Vic Falls. And I just liked pretty much what I like about Jeffreys, except you replace the river with the beach. It's just a simpler life. Kids aren't rushing to grow up. People are enjoying being outdoors and doing things. They're not like needing to be on their phones the whole time. So I just liked that aspect, whereas I felt like Joburg, Cape Town, there was this rush to grow up.
It's a general rush.
Yeah.
You know, it's experience to everything is just
a rush, yeah. Even walking, like when I came back, I had a job in Sandton. And that was something else. I was just such a culture shock for me to come back, and I was like, whoa, like everything I need to do needs to be faster. Like you go to the grocery store and everyone's like 5 paces ahead of you, and you're just getting groceries. I'm like, where did this like come from?
I know what you mean. Yeah, you're getting cut off at the corner of the, you know, people. It's like you're driving in traffic on the highway, but you're in the grocery store.
And also like, to compliment someone is like, people think you're weird. Like I like to acknowledge like a really funky skirt, or I like fashion a bit. So like for me, that's like a nice gesture of like how I think the world should be, where we should be open and you know, interacting, whereas like there it would just be like, what is this?
Yes, it's.
But here, everyone loves it, you know. Like I can say to an old lady, I love her perm, and we can have a little giggle, and she'll tell me about her grandkids, and I like that community feeling. I think that yeah, the more first world you get, the more connected we are digitally, but not in person.
Do you think because that's kind of also the acknowledgement of other people, right? That's all that basic thing, that compliment exchange thing. It's kind of this recognition, you're another human being, and here's something that I like, that I see, or, you know, it's just this basic recognition. And in busier city centers, in like huge population centers, do you think maybe there comes a point of human density where that kind of basic interaction is shaved away by the fear of boundaries being pressed in too tightly, if you know what I mean? Do you think you stuff us too tightly together in any circumstance, and we start to lose that that ability to interact casually with a stranger?
The pressure is like on.
There's pressure, yeah.
I think it's also performance. Like not to say that you're acting, but I think your performance is constantly like under scrutiny, especially in like, let's say, a place like Sandton, you know, your shoes, your car, are you meeting your KPIs, you know, all KPIs, these, you know what I'm saying? Like everything could always be better, you know, everything could always be faster, everything could...
that efficiency, that we have to drive towards efficiency.
And how could that not translate into your personal life? Like you're at work 8 hours a day minimum. So yeah, maybe you do kind of push back at that point where like, I just want to be in my little bubble, and
you have to push back a bit to create that little bubble, because you kind of need that some sort of a bubble. But it's interesting that you get, I mean, just looking from the outside, because I haven't experienced these cultures, but if you go to some busy places, I just wonder what are the Hong Kongs of the world like, and the Singapores, and where people are really mashed in. I mean, they must find the same things there, even in that hubbub. I don't know. I wonder, do they just shut out even more and become even more digitally connected, and or do they manage to find community?
Sounds like, I don't know. I don't know much about
Those
cultures or how the families. But I think there is a strong family culture in those countries. Maybe they're coming together and having meals together and that. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. The more I've moved away from big cities and that, I've become so provincial in one way. I'm like terrified of cities. I don't think I will go there and experience it. You put me there, I'm like a fish out of water. The concrete jungle ain't for me.
Do you get that anxiety of being around that like buzz of people?
Yeah, I get like a claustrophobic kind of feeling. Yeah, I like to have, not constantly, but I like to have the ability to have relative silence around me. And that's something that I find is kind of, it's sometimes in conflict with society and the bigger picture. You have to live in ways like we do in these smaller places, and that to be able to entertain that. And at the same time, I mean, if you enjoy a certain amount of that, and then things change, things move on. I mean, wherever I've lived, I was staying in Brackenfell in Cape Town. I stayed in this little complex, and they're busy developing a lot of little complexes and stuff there. So while I was there was an open field across the road, and in the year or just longer that I stayed there, they developed another housing complex in this field. That just, and it like went quickly. It wasn't a slow process. So I kind of you see this change. You go wherever you go, you'll be sitting there, and then the next thing they're chopping trees down, they're slamming up housing and you think to yourself, Jesus, this just the state of the world. Is there no getting away from this? I see there by you guys in Paradise Beach, they're also developing quite a lot. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of houses getting sold, a lot of houses being built up. But I think because people are also finding what you're speaking about now, what I love about Paradise is you're near enough to go and get your groceries and what have you from Jeffrey's, but come holiday season, you've still got your quiet beach. You know? Like, so you are, if you don't want that hyped up stuff that I would have loved in my 20s, like now I'm quite happy because my quiet beach in Paradise is still quiet, a couple more people, but probably old people or little families, no one trying to open up a rave on the beach and disturb my peace. So
the vibe stays
the same, which is what I think a lot of people are figuring out about Paradise. So there's a lot of holiday houses there. And a lot of people that work remotely, I find, are there. I met a couple from Sweden.
Oh, cool.
Had like a really cool house. Again, I was driving around getting my son down for a nap, and I saw them and I was like, this is my opportunity to ask them, which again, depending on where you are, that's a really weird thing for a person to do, but I thought it was fine. I was like, I'm just going to pull over, I have to ask them about this house of theirs. I was like, hi, where are you from? And so we're from Sweden, we work remotely, and I was like, your house is so beautiful, and they're like, oh, thanks so much. And I had that interaction with them. So anyway.
Did they invite you in?
No.
But now you've kind of
the foot in the door.
Foot in the door. Oh, shame. Maybe they'll tell them to watch the podcast. They'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know you wanted to see you."
Yeah, I'll just hover around outside waiting for them.
Oh, that won't be weird at all. They'd love that.
Right,
talk about community. But don't you think that with these kind of developments and these things happening, that vibe will eventually be a little bit taken away by the inevitable growth?
It is possible. I think it depends on like where Jeffrey's or Human Soap or the surrounding areas, so I'm not very familiar, develop business-wise. I think that will determine, why people would be moving here or building here. That would affect things. But I think for now, I like to think that like Jeffrey's is like the best kept secret in South Africa.
Oh, Dave just ruined it.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't live there.
Yeah,
It's
Jeffrey
horrible.
is terrible. Oh no, the wind, man, the wind.
The wind. You can't do anything in the wind.
Yeah.
But I really do. It's a special, special place.
No, it is. Yeah, I found some adjustment to the culture. It's also living out here where we are. You know, we're not really in town as such. So, you know, I'll go there specifically for specific things. But I haven't spent that much time just getting to know people and stuff in there. So maybe that will still come. I miss the Western Cape a lot. So. Like especially George. But the thing is, like, I wanted to be in the Garden Route for most of my life. That's really where I wanted to be. So when I eventually got there, it is still where I want to be. But things change and things happen. I sort of had to come out here and spend this new chapter here.
What happened?
My dad passed away. So what happened is, I might as well tell the story for the audience. It's actually a funny thing that happened. I was about to go to New Zealand. It's like the flight was booked, actually. This company was going to take me on, and it had been sort of a year in the making, this process, and I was working in Cape Town at the time. And obviously, I mean, I clicked on something on Facebook or something, and I thought, oh, this is probably nothing, but in the end, this recruiter, these people got a hold of me, and they were, are you interested in this? We actually really, this can happen, you know? And I thought, okay, well, let me just play along and see where this goes. And it started becoming more and more real, and I ticked off more and more boxes and got my trade verified or whatever by the authorities, and it started to seem like it's really going to happen. And then in between, I got the job in George, which, as I said, was where I really wanted to be. So, I mean, I had like 2 or 3 months left on the New Zealand application thing, and it looked like it's going to happen. And I took the George job anyway because it just kind of fit in. I couldn't say no, you know, because I'd wanted to be there for so long. And then, but I took it knowing that I'm going to leave and go to New Zealand. But it sort of made a bit of sense because I'd moved my stuff this way. Obviously, my parents being here, my dad was going to retire at the same time, basically, and then be here. So I would be able to spend a bit more time with them and with my parents in between. So I got the George job. In the end of this whole thing, so what happened is I resigned eventually from the company in George. And this is when the visa was arranged. Everything was now arranged. And I found myself really reflecting hard on why am I doing this? What am I going there for? And, you know, everyone obviously, it's a big part of why I've taken this angle on this podcast of trying to showcase culture and why this country is a great place. Is because everyone was telling me, oh, you got to do this. You got to. Oh, it's a no-brainer. Oh. And I was sort of going along on that momentum. Oh, this must be a good thing. But as it sort of started to coalesce into a real thing that was in front of me, I started examining really carefully and weighing things up and looking, what was I going to be doing? Not just the hard facts of what I was going to be earning and what I would be able to afford, how would I live. That calculation didn't work out that favorable, actually, when I really dug into it. And then when I examined the culture and as I started to think deeply about what do I appreciate about here and how will that compare, and I looked deeper and deeper into it. And I just kind of got the sense that this isn't what I want. Like, I actually really like living here. I don't actually want to do this. And I mean, my dad is retiring here and we're going to be able to spend time together. So flight booked, everything done. I dropped the people. I said to them, I think it was on the 15th of Feb. Last year, 24, that I sent this email. I was like, I'm really sorry. I can't do this. I've thought about this whole thing. They were, of course, not very happy about it because it had been all considered and done. But I told them that I begged my former boss. Now I've just left to go to New Zealand, but actually I've changed my mind. They were gracious enough to actually give me my old job back. And yeah, a month later, the 15th of March, my dad passed away. So what do you know? Go figure. Huh?
What happened?
Some sort of a cardiac event. I don't know. He was here. He was visiting friends of my mom's. They have a little place on the river, a couple of rivers up from Gamtoos, that side, past Humansdorp, Corredo side. And yeah, he just woke up in the morning and had like a heart attack or something. Sure, it is what it is. So it's something that obviously knocked my family really hard. It was unexpected, and he was 2 weeks into his retirement, literally 2 weeks into his retirement. We had this field that unfolded before us about how we're going to spend this time now, and the carpet was just ripped out underneath, So I had to just examine things. My mom really struggled and continues to struggle with his loss. My sister and brother-in-law and them are in the Netherlands, so, and she's also battling to cope and feeling very isolated out there, and I decided. My dad had worked a corporate job kind of all his life, blue collar trade job, but corporate, big companies. And they obviously, they ride you like a horse into the ground. It's basically what they do. And, with his passing, and it just led me to think a lot about what I'm doing, and am I going down the same road? Why am I doing this? And what's gonna be my future and my legacy? And, life's short, obviously. And I just decided to pull the plug on that whole thing and move back here and support my mom. She supported me as well. We all really been struggling, so it's been easy. So we kind of benefit from this mutual support, and I'll just figure out the next chapter from here. So this has been actually a part of that development, is launching this podcast. Although I had the idea for it for a couple of years. The genesis of this was when I started in the Western Cape and meeting all those different cultures there, and I just thought, even mundane-ish things, the way people speak, the accents, and then I thought, I wish I could do a show, and actually just let people see these people and how they talk. And then obviously that's still, now I'm on the other side of the country, and I don't know those sort of cultures here. I only know what I have around me and people that I'm meeting. But that's the long-term plan. We're going to get there, and we're going to, hopefully in the end of hundreds of episodes, we'll have a nice little video journal of what it means to live in this country and why it's worth staying.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, so that's my long story.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you
it's not easy.
For listening.
Easy to lose family.
No.
So I'll be vulnerable then. So I'll share with you about mine. I told you when I sent you that clip of Alfie that he is autistic. So I was really keen on the beanbag for him because it's a physical thing. He can jump and play and do all of that. So it's been an interesting journey for me with him getting diagnosed and navigating, because obviously a first-time mom, he's my only child, and from little I always wanted to be a mom. That was like a big goal for me, but I never spoke about it because but women can do so many things now. We can be doctors and be lawyers and we can do this and we can do that. Like, you've got to aspire for more, right? Like,
there's a bit of social pressure in that direction, of course.
So I never spoke about it, and then obviously now I feel comfortable to say, like, it was something, a big dream of mine. And then I had Alfie, and I questioned, like, maybe I didn't have this motherly instinct that I was so sure I had, because things were difficult. I loved him so much and I wanted the best for him, but things weren't like working. Like, there were things that I was struggling with him. And then you have your lovely family and support group around you that are always trying to be positive and say, don't worry, this is something that he'll grow out of. This is something that he'll grow out of. So you have this, like, this balance of, do I trust my instincts and, like, go forward and try and see if there's anything that I need to help or understand more about my son, or am I just being, like, pedantic and overly worried too deeply into it. So I had that to juggle with, and then started with occupational therapy eventually. So the main thing is you need to wait a kind of till they're 2 to start with assessments and stuff like that. So I wrote a letter to his creche and I said, these are the things I've observed and let me know your thoughts. And I think he was there for like a week and they said, we definitely think occupational therapy will be a good thing for him. So we started with that, which is behavior therapy. Then from there, she said she thought speech would be a great option for him. So we decided speech, got him on the waiting list for assessment for autism. And then fast forward, we got him assessed, and then I learned he is level 2. Level 2, I think it's neurodivergent. They don't really use the term autistic. I'm still learning. I just like the term neurospicy. That's what the therapist said, which I liked because Alfie's super strong-headed and a bossy boy. They call him Boss Baby at creche.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I don't know what to share really is probably like trust your instincts as a mom or as a parent, and know that people around you are actually trying to be supportive and like hopeful, if that's the right word, that
of course,
things will just naturally evolve and get better over time. But I really believe in advocating for your kids and that like early intervention is a great thing because his like transformed as a kid. Like he's saying words now. I mean, he was originally diagnosed as nonverbal, not speaking.
Right, I see, yeah.
And now he's got words. He's saying words. He said, "I love you, Mom," for the first time, like a few weeks ago, and I burst into
I was
tears.
going to say, that must have been quite a thing.
Yeah, it was huge. It's
Yeah, sure.
And he's super intelligent, which a lot of people think. It's just not a very well discussed topic because the saying is, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism.
I understand that. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Very varied. A lot of people will say to me, "Oh, but he doesn't look autistic."
How should you look?
And I'm like, there isn't a look.
Yes.
I know what Alfie's sensory things are. I know what certain behaviors mean now, and it's my responsibility to learn to understand him and advocate for him again. You know, like he's not really in a position to advocate for himself at this stage.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he's a little intelligent boy. He loves cars, fussy with food and sleep. But you know, I don't think it's a negative. I think there's a blessing in having a kid and knowing that, from my faith anyway, that I'm able to ride the journey with him for however long I'm meant to.
And with love and enjoy those things. Acceptance, you know? And sharing joy. And there's a lot of, in general, we have, like you kind of alluded to in the beginning of this share, there's this pressure to conform, and there's this pressure to conform to whatever the pattern is of the day, or just in general, you know, whether it's what you should do with your life, whether you should be a mom or pursue a career, whether it's, I think even for kids, there's like, you could chart out what are standard and normal behaviors and a bunch of metrics, and then there'd be a lot of overlap. There'd be like a clustering of points, right, of what are considered normal.
Yep.
But for every one of those individuals, there would be certain traits and certain aspects that are way out on the wings, because we are just all individuals.
Yes.
So there's almost this false kind of idea that there's this normal band that we aspire to or something like that. But I mean, that it's totally false, because then there's no individuality anyway if we're all just this band of normalcy.
Yeah.
It's interesting that.
I appreciate that, because I think we live in a world where a lot of things are evolving, especially technology. But then when we get down to education, I don't see it evolving. But then again, it's my personal opinion, is we spend a good couple of years of our lives in school, but it's preparing you for the workforce, right? So for me, I'd love it if we got to a place where school was, these are your strengths, that's what we're going to focus on.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Why should we have to like push the hard things? Like, okay, you've really struggled with math, so now we're going to put more math in front of you, you know, like now you need to do the extra lessons, and now you're going to stress when you have exams.
Focus on the weaknesses, and you create these insecurities and things.
Where we could just like flourish in what we naturally are drawn to and enjoy doing, and there is a profession for all of that.
Yes, yeah. We'd have a much more well-adjusted, we can say, society, you know.
But that's my dream. I have a lot of...
Yeah, but I've heard that kind of school of thought before. A school of thought, no pun intended. But of course, what really controls the world in the West, the capitalist agenda or philosophy, whatever you want to call it, isn't really going to allow for that. Although it could, you know, there's no physical bar of why it shouldn't, but there's just a whole lot of impetus and there's a whole lot of momentum that's just not going to be overridden by some great ideas. So it's not going to just change. But as you also mentioned about the world changing and evolving, change is not just happening, but it seems like it happens at a faster rate, an increasing rate. So some of these things are going to come about in different ways. Yeah. It's almost like if we can have support and have wisdom and have some of these kind of things in our lives, we can adjust to the people that we need to be in spite of all these pressures and these, you know, we just have to kind of recognize it. And it takes really breaking away from this mainstream narrative or whatever you want to call it to be able to recognize that. And it's good. I mean, it's great that you're a mom who's going to give that to your child. You know, I mean, you're not going to be there telling him like, oh, you're sums or you're this. Or you're going to be focusing on strengths and focusing on
joy, right?
Joy, yeah.
Like, what's the cliche saying? If you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. Like, isn't that the goal?
Yeah, you know? I suppose so.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of families now, especially COVID kind of lent itself to this, is homeschooling.
Oh, yes.
And that became, but that also becomes a very touchy subject, you know. I was very for it. I think there's a lot of good to it. And the first thing you'll hear is, well, what about the social aspect? And,
I was going to mention that. I'm glad you beat me to it because you would have been like, ha! I was going to say that.
And I'm just like, you know, think about it for just like a split second growing up as a kid. Your only friends were not your school friends. It was your parents' kids' friends. I mean, parents, friends, kids.
Yeah.
And like there would always be other kids in your life. Like the time you would see your creche friends would be your birthday, like outside of school, if you think about it. You saw other kids all the time, cousins, and it's not like we're not trying to like say, oh, we're going to film a mini cult at home where we just keep you in this little garden area.
Sounds
here.
Fun though.
But I get it, because there you can protect your kids, if we talk America, because that's been a big thing for them,
of course,
homeschooling. But yeah, you can also support the strengths, right? So,
and you'd be more in tune with those things, instead of trying to force them through the meat grinder of public education / indoctrination. What do you, before we get into more of that stuff, I just want to touch on another philosophical thing. What do you think about the idea? So you get kind of the pursuit of happiness, right? That is one of life's great things. Then you get this idea that happiness is something that is a choice. You can, to some degree, you can control it by not looking for it, but just having it, you know. And then there's another sort of school of thought that happiness is not always a must in every moment. And sometimes in the running away from discomfort and pain and those things, in this ever ongoing pursuit of happiness, that we get into things like depression, and we get really hurt in trying to run away from pain at all costs. What do you have some comments on that?
Sure. Yeah, I do. I have to approach it from my faith, if that's okay.
Of course.
Because that's the influence in my life. So I've been in those places. So I have definitely run away from pain in my life. but I've learned that to be grateful really helps change your mindset on circumstances. So it's like the wolf you feed,
Oh,
right?
yes.
And if you're going to feed fear or sadness, I know it's a very easy thing to say, but it's difficult.
But tell that, just sorry to interrupt, for the people who are not familiar with that concept about the wolf you feed, just give us a little.
So whichever wolf you feed is going to be the strongest. It's the one that's is going to be the loudest. So if you choose to feed happiness, that's that wolf that you're going to feed.
There's two wolves that are fighting inside of you, right? And the one is jealousy and anger and bitterness and those kind of things, and the other one is forgiveness and love. And am I getting that sort of right?
Yes.
And then which wolf wins?
Is the one you feed.
The one you feed.
Yeah. This is kind of a little bit of a life story. Sorry, but it's the only way I can get my brain thinking, and you just take what you want out of it. Is I grew up in church and loved church. My mom and my father got divorced when they separated when I was 8. They got divorced when I was 9. Okay. And then a few years later, my mom started dating the minister of our church.
Okay.
So I was super stoked, like there isn't a better human in the world for my mom to marry, right? This is the perfect human in my very young mind. So they got married. Lots of not so great things happened in that marriage, which then affected my faith in a huge way. Because I was like, oh, if this is the person that's preaching to all of us and telling us how to live a good Christian life, but I know the reality, that kind of deviated my faith for a really long time, and then I searched for it in other places. I did my yoga teacher practice. I was big into that. I studied Buddhism. I studied the Quran at a point.
Okay.
And I never really got me to that fulfilling place. And then before I found out I was pregnant with Alfie, I was just kind of done with it all. It's all right, it's just
disillusioned.
me. It's fine, this is my lot in life. And I think it was a New Year's Eve. I was at home alone, and I was writing in my journal, which I hardly do. I was writing in my journal what I'd like to achieve in the next year, and I'd realized I'd let go a lot of dreams I had for myself. Which is crazy, because one of those things was the idea of being a mom. I was like, Lord, and this is also me having a conversation with God, which was new. For a long time I hadn't. And I just said, look, I surrender this. I accept that maybe this is not your will for me. I know I need to get my life together. And then, in February, I found out I was pregnant.
Sure.
And then having this little human changed everything for me.
Of course, yeah.
It changed everything. I was going to move back to South Africa after Alfie was about 6 months old. Started going to church, got him dedicated at church, praying, bought a Bible. Fast forward, came down to visit my mom here in Jeffreys Bay. And I said to her, oh gosh, Mom, I really want to move down here. To be such a great place for Alfie to grow up and have his gran around. And I was in my head, I was like, this is going to take a while, trying to find work can be difficult. Fast forward, I think it was within 2 weeks, I had an offer for a job, and I was like, this is insane.
Amazing,
wow.
Divine intervention.
And this is where huge wheels of change started happening, where I did next to nothing, which I couldn't deny God anymore. So I moved down. The job was in PE, and I was like, it's a start. At least I'm here. I'll do the commute. I'll do the thing, but the goal will be to find something closer to home. And the lady decided it wasn't a good fit for us, which was the first time I've been told that. So I was like, oh, that sucks. But then immediately, I think it was not long after that, like I was still working there, but we were kind of, I was realizing like, okay, this might not work out. We were having chats, but I was still working there. And I was like, I need to look for a job in Jeffries. And I was at my mom's house, and she had a friend coming over to visit her, and she just said to her, yeah, Cassidy's still like trying to find a place that's nearer, you know, PE is quite a commute and what have you. So if you know of anyone or anything, and she's like, oh, I think I can speak to this friend of mine at the company I now work for. I think they might have a position going there. And then she messages my mom, says, oh, she must email this person, this is the position that they've got going. And I was like, Mom, like, I'm not qualified for this position. Like, this is a dream job, but I'm not qualified for this. She's like, just do it. Just apply for the job. Like, what have you got to lose? Try. I applied. I got the job. Love the job. My dream job. Still doing it.
It's amazing.
And I did nothing.
It's
you know what I'm
amazing
saying?
that,
Like, that was completely the opposite of my personality, where I need to make everything happen. And when you just surrender it, and so that helped me because I've been in some really dark places. I've been in some really hard places. But the minute I remember I'm not alone, the minute I remember that God is working in my life, every time I've come out of a place like that to a happier place, and I look back, I can see why I needed to have that moment in my life.
Yes.
So it makes it easier every time a challenge shows up in my life to know that there is something important that is going to come out of it.
Yes, that you might not fully understand right now, but...
And that's what makes you, I think, to answer after, this is how I explain myself in big stories,
good answer.
is how I find the comfort in the hard times, because you have to have that faith, that surrender.
Yes.
Sleeping in the storm, or whatever you want to call it. And gratitude for me, because we're so quick to pray and ask, I need this, I need that, Lord, I need this. And I'm not without that. Of course I do. Especially with Alfie. I pray for him all the time, and he's answering prayer there. But yeah, gratitude and knowing that it's not for nothing. So even if you aren't a Christian, like, it's not for nothing. There's always something good that will come out of the bad.
No, there's nothing wrong with that answer. That really gets to it. It's profound. This kind of, it's looking at it from a spiritual perspective, and it's, I also find, like, in trying to look at it through some other lens than that, always ends up back in the same kind of desperate for control, trying to run away from pain at all costs, and somehow digging deeper into the hole of pain while trying so hard to run away from it. I find that's the only other way. And I've also tried to look at it from so many different angles. I've always sort of believed, I've believed in God, and I've always, like, nominally, just in some way or another, accepted Christ and everything that Christ did, and Christ as Savior. But I've sort of tried to move away at times, and also, like you say, you've just grown dead and cold in the spirit for various reasons. But it's always just, well, however I've then tried to cope and manage things, has ended up in the same little, trying to tunnel away from pain, but finding myself tunneling into more pain.
Because you haven't let it go.
Yeah, it's amazing how much, and like you also said, in surrender came the calling into the greatest change, and into really realization of your dreams, in a way, and not dreams in your limited selfish assessment of dreams, but
So
in a bigger way than you would have actually. That's profound, and it's meaningful, man. That's what life is about. I mean, if it's not about that, you've really got to work hard to try and disguise it and to mask it and make it about something else. It takes a lot of, if you want to numb it, or it's hard work. I won't say it doesn't work to some degree, but man, it's hard work. It's easier in one sense, like Andre was saying, to kind of let go. It's actually easier, although it is also difficult sometimes, because we have that pride thing in relinquishing control. But if you are able to get your head and your spirit around to doing that, therein lies joy, because you it's not on you. Like,
Yeah.
hey, good news, buddy. It's not on you. Take it off your shoulders. It's not on you.
And I promise you, God's going right. Like, now I can actually do the work. Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
You've stepped back, you know, like, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. That. Tell us a bit of how you. So you're doing what, copywriting now? But you were trained in teaching in English and history. How did that little?
Yeah. Also weird. My stories are not like short, I find. But so when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to study, I knew that I wanted to do something that like left an impact in people's lives, where I could, you know, say I did something with my life. I didn't think I was smart enough to be a doctor, even though I love the field. I didn't think I was smart enough to be one. And my marks will definitely reflect that. But what happened in my life is a few of my teachers, so my history teacher, my English teacher, my drama teacher, they really helped me find my voice. So looking at me now, and this is, you know, our first time meeting each other, you wouldn't say I'm a shy, quiet, introverted person that's just sort of, but I didn't have a voice. I was very shy, very quiet, very insecure. And those three teachers helped me find my confidence, helped me find my voice, helped me express myself in drama, like performing. It's unreal. I mean, I even performed in the Nelson Mandela Square Theatre.
Okay.
And a few, obviously, like school stuff. That was school as well, but you were now a different person. You weren't being judged. Your character is being judged. So it gave me that like freedom.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
And then my English teacher and my history teacher. So I thought, well, maybe that's how I can have an impact, is if I teach. And so then I was like, well, the only place you could study drama, teaching drama, was UCT, which wasn't an option for me because I was going to study correspondence in Zambia. So then it was history and English, which I studied. And then really difficult to get a job teaching, turns out. So you're either like...
I've heard some things about that.
Yeah, you're filling in for someone that's on maternity.
It's a shame that it's a job of passion, and then you get met with all these funny obstacles.
But I really do, like, it's not... I'm not sad about it. I see how my dream for myself was not the true dream for myself, if that makes sense. Like, I love my job now, and I have so much love for Alfie's teachers and therapists and anyone that's a teacher, because that's a lot of work. You know, you've got X amount of kids all day, and then you got to go home probably to your kids. Bless you. Like, I'm cool. I'm cool to have Alfie, love him, care for him. I don't think I could teach. So
there's so much value in good teachers, and they're so undervalued by society. It's another thing that's just kind of wrong with this, the way our society is ordered. I mean, good teachers should be honored and uplifted. I can also think back on just a couple of good teachers. You know, they weren't all great. You get a few good teachers, and you get one or two great ones, and they make all the difference. When you think of like, how many lives have they improved? What is the measure? And you'll never, maybe that's why they don't get their due, is because how do you actually go and measure that effect in all those lives that they've touched? It's not something that you could easily put a quantity on, you know, but it's so valuable.
I think the special thing, I hope for them anyway, is like, at least my year, we've all gone back and like taken flowers or made a visit or tried to do a reunion. I haven't made it to any of them because I was never in SA at the time, but we do try, you know. Or like Facebook, we're Facebook friends.
Yes,
so
you just
you'll
have a little bit of contact,
and then you'll go and say, "Oh, we missed you," or "Remember this." Or so I hope those things are a small way that they know, like,
some sort of meaningful.
After all these years, they still,
Yeah, and it's like you say, after all these years, a great teacher, you'll never forget them. You'll always think of them as this role that they played in your life.
Yeah, and now the goal is storytelling. Yeah, so I had one of my like crazy ideas for myself many years ago was to write a book. Maybe that'll happen. Who knows? But outside of that, like, I really enjoy what I'm doing now. And the company I get to do it with is amazing. And yeah, so.
What do you actually do, like this copywriting?
Yeah, so basically, trying to think how much I can share, because I haven't really run this by. Yeah.
Share just a little bit too much and then dial it back.
Okay.
I'm kidding you.
It's
However much you're
hard.
comfortable
I'm
with.
like an oversharer, if you haven't realized.
Oh, you can just more or less, you know. I mean, give us.
So basically, let's give.
You have to get specifics.
Yeah, the business side of it. So we work for various brands, pretty much in the Eastern Cape, and we will handle their social media. So that'll be their Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. We'll do, like, let's say maybe posters, prizes, those kinds of things as well, and some articles here and there as well that might go places. I have to be kind of vague. I feel like I have to be vague.
I don't want to say that you're trying to hint that in some way you're a propagandist.
No.
Corporate propagandist, well disguised.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm
Social
giving you a
media
hard time.
marketing. But yeah, we do the fun stuff. So like a great example of something that I really enjoy we do is campaigns. So we'll do social media campaigns to drive sales in store with prizes and stuff, which is really cool. And I'm part of the team that we come up with the concepts and the ideas behind what we're going to create in terms of video, because that's like the main focus these days, and graphic design as well. We have a great graphic design team as well. And so we brainstorm together. So it's not one person, you know, you can't go, oh, it was me. It was a collaboration.
Yes.
But it's creative, it's fun. The boundaries are also great because they challenge your creativity, because you have to have limitation to what you do.
They say that, with any design challenge, it's limitations are a must, otherwise you...
Yeah. And then obviously writing, I write, so that's like my main thing that I could like tick my name on, is the writing side of things is me. Even for like websites as well, I do some of the writing there.
Okay.
And but we've got some cool things coming up that I'm really excited
Stay tuned.
about.
I take it you're not going to give us links to like where we should... Oh, okay. That's good. We're adding mystery to our content. I like that. A layer of intrigue. People are going to be hunting you down.
I'll tell you afterwards.
There we go. Awesome. Oh, cool, man. I think we'll just about wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to say? Is there maybe advice? What would you say to young people, maybe young girls that are coming up in the world, even just people in general that are kind of confused, or they struggling with all this overload, where to go, what to do? What would your advice be if you had to give a piece of advice?
Sure. I would say don't be so hard on yourself. Find space to be quiet. And that does mean don't doom scroll on TikTok, okay? That means put the phone down. Find a bit of quiet for yourself. And just think about what you want your future to look like, and what you value, because that's really going to determine the decisions you make. And just if you can, do what you enjoy. That's it.
Good advice. Thank you so much. It's been interesting.
Thanks for having me.
We'll do another one day. We'll follow up on your corporate intrigue and Alfie's story so far.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. That's a wrap.
Yay!